Hi, Holly. Great. 155, question 155. Right. So again, here, audit risk, hopefully now your understanding of audit risk based on, I think some of the earlier questions are stronger. You talked about components, inherent, control, and detection. And of course, what we want to do is break this down. Um, Remember, you want to talk about sampling risk and non-sampling risk for detection. You want to talk about audit risk being and a risk that would have occurred with or without controls. Actually, ultimately we're really saying audit risk is really due to the nature of the industry, or audit risk is the risk that we give an inappropriate, which you talked about earlier on, an inappropriate opinion due to sort of external factors that are almost out with because you see that's what audit risk is, if you like, just the fact that we give an inappropriate opinion. Then there were some words we were using, remember, account balance, disclosures, um, those kind of words. We want to talk about assertions. So the risk that these assertions aren't correct. So if you go back again, look at that language: assertions, um, account balance, disclosures. These are the words we want to be saying that might be, if you like, we might have given the wrong judgment, made the wrong judgment on. Right? So good, but break this up. This is too much of a paragraph, so we want to break it up into those. We want to remember we talked about it being into two parts. Audit risk being risk of material misstatement and detection risk. Material misstatement and detection risk. Material misstatement broken up into inherent risk and control risk. Examiner will be happy. Critical that we're doing this. We want the marks, right? Okay, great. Let's look at the risks themselves. So correct, the key point here is that these people make this thing. There's a lot going on here, but aquamarine, if you look at the question very quickly, again, um, they undertake continuous production. There's work in progress. So straight away, I'm thinking work in progress might be overstated. I want to see a breakdown of that work in progress. Key point here is that we always want to highlight what the risk is. Very good. And you are constantly, you have to constantly highlight what is the consequence of this risk. So name the risk, tell us what the consequences are. Right. When attending we'll discuss the process of completing the testing. Interesting. I think here that you can actually you can actually get some actual detail on this business over here. Let's look at the mark scheme and see where they're going with this. Um, so they undertake continuous production, and the work in progress is likely to be material. So the auditor should discuss with management the process they will undertake to assess the cutoff. Yes, and really, they've also they've discussed bringing in an independent expert to value the work. Um, and the key point is we need to assess how what's going on over here. And I'm just trying to think anything rational as to how we would do it. Personally, maybe I would wait till the year end myself and see what's happening, what expenses have been recorded so far at the year end, if you like. Um, Yeah, and so we know the work in progress is like if the cutoff is not correctly, you can see here, the key point here is if cutoff is not correctly calculated, it's likely that inventory will be probably overstated. I would probably go with that. If you didn't write under, that's fine, but I'd probably go with overstated. Okay, great. So this is 720 p.m. Plant machinery has not quite arrived. So we want to make sure that only the existing discuss with managers when this will arrive. If so, physically verify to ensure that only the non-current assets in that year have actually been recorded in that year. So whatever, go along, have a look at the thing. And then of course there's depreciation, because the question is, are we putting the right depreciation in? We shouldn't be overstating, if you like, it, because if you've not yet delivered it and you've recorded it, then you're overstating your plant, property and equipment, or property, plant and equipment. You're overstating your property, plant and equipment. So we also need to think about depreciation. So I want to go quickly talk. Then there's the patent. I'm going to go through your answers, but I think let's go through this. Patent. this so questions here, we're really talking about assets, key long-term assets, non-current assets, and non-current liabilities. That's what this question is trying to focus on, and how we deal with that. How we deal with that. If again, this may be overstated, you can see they're constantly highlighting the consequences, right? So again, you've got that there. And you want to have a look at it, the documentation, and of course look at the amortization or of that. They've borrowed this 1.2 from the bank. So key issue here, this is a big point. Classification. We must always split up loans between current and non-current. Yes, that's the key point first. And that's a disclosure issue. So that's the first thing we want to talk about. And then, of course, this naturally leads us to the question of a finance cost. So typically with these loans, people tend to remember finance costs are accrued. So we don't say it's yeah, I mean it's accrued. So it's about getting the finance costs right. So there's always generally a risk that someone might want to leave out finance costs off the income statement because it hits expense and hits liabilities as well if it's not been paid, for example. But the key point is that we want to make sure these are in there as well. So this area is an important area, especially when you're taking out loans, right? Let's go back to your answers. So you highlight that, sorry, cancel. You highlight that Aquamarine placed an order. This is this is called risk to the assets of depreciation, but even the assets themselves, PPE in itself could be overstated. So you talk about depreciation, but there's a risk that PPE will be overstated if it's not carefully accounted for. Discuss how much of the order was received. Good, 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 good. Very good. Good. Patent. Good, very good. Good, very good. I'm happy. So let's see what you did here. Good, very good. Well done. Good, very good. I'm happy there. Yeah, and I'm happy with your outsourcing of payroll. Um, correct. Good. I'm pleased. You know what's going on there. I think you'll be much more comfortable this time. Um, yeah, and this is critical here. I need to find this in the textbook. I'm going to look for it now. So, but every time we outsource work, um, really important. There was remember a type 1 and a type 2 report. These are reports that you want to know. You know, you want to be very clear as to what's going on, if you like. And let's quickly go to see if I can find that. I mean, your answers are fine, actually. I don't know how quickly I'll be able to find this here, where it would be, where I'll be able to pick it up. But the key point here is that when we're working with experts, sorry, when we've outsourced um, work, we won't be able to get access to the systems. So typically, um, let me see. Oops. Reporting, completion, procedures. I'm not even sure where it would sit. Sometimes I thinking evidence. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with um see if evidence if it might be sitting in there because I don't have a physical textbook to just go to the back and have a look and see the work of others. So it's sitting in here. Yes, D6. Suspected to be in here. Just gonna put 35. Sorry. Maybe not. Sorry, I'm almost there. No, wasn't in this one. But the key point is if I go to the answers here and sort of highlight what I'm trying to talk about here, I'm talking about this. I mean, your work, as I say, is good, but you can see they're very clear about. Oops, sorry. Let's go this way. Up here. They're very clear about the potential here to get two reports. Aquamarine Marine. Here we are. Yeah, here we are. If this is important, so you can get, you can contact the people you're trying to get in touch with to get a type 1 report. So it just talks about the description and design of the controls, because this is about controls testing, isn't it? We're trying to see that we want to, if we were doing payroll, we would look at the controls as part of our work, but we can't. So you can see that type 1 is a sort of soft report, description and design. Type 2 is much more detailed, description, design, and operating effectiveness of controls. So much deeper in depth. So you probably have to, they're giving you a bit more, if you like. So there's two types of reports. So just putting this gives you some extra marks. This is what I'm really talking about. Right? This is where I'm really going. I mean, you've got some good answers there. So the key point is you need to think about what's going on at Coral. Well, it depends on how material payroll is anyway, and the design and implementation of internal controls. You may want to visit Coral and test their controls and how effective. That's if you're lucky enough to get in there. If you're not, then you'll have to speak to Coral themselves or speak to their auditors to send you one of those reports, either a type 1 or a type 2, right? But you are responsible for gaining sufficient and appropriate evidence to see whether or not you can rely regarding this information from Coral's auditors. You're still responsible. Cool, great. So let's just go back to your answers and score this quickly. So again, like I said, you could visit to Fissions. And you kind of start talking about this here, but this issue of type 1 and type 2. So really important that we get that right. Right. So I won't give you many marks here, but I think the others we can give you. So your audit risk question, describing the audit risk. I still don't think you're. I think you want to get stronger with that, which I'm going to give you 2. And then in terms of your audit risks, I think you've done a good job there again. So I'll give you 9 out of 12. And in terms of this bit over here, out of 3, I'll probably give you 1 out of 3. So 2 plus 5, 9. And 2 plus 9, 11, 12. So 12 out of 20 again. So your aim is, again, you want to keep pushing this to hit a 15 out of 20 kind of benchmark, getting there. Cool, great stuff. That's Aquamarine.